Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming. My name is Helena Nikonole. I'm a new media artist and independent curator, and I'm a curator of Digital Serendipity exhibition, which I hope you already visited. And I've been working with artificial intelligence as an artist, also as a curator over the last 7 years. And today I'm going to share with you my thoughts and ideas on text-to-image generators, much hyped generators such as Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, and Dall-E. And we are going to talk about theory and history of text-to-image generators, and also the politics behind datasets and some issues related to the implementation of these algorithms. And actually, they are so pervasive and invasive that some people suggest to invent this kind of term prompter or promptist instead of artist, describing this text interface which we can use to generate all these images and videos using these algorithms. And I want to start from a couple of examples. The first example is this image by Jason Allen, Space Opera Theater, which won a digital art competition the last year. And actually, while many artists participating in the contest were upset by this fact, the jury stated that they would give the first prize to this artist anyway, and the artist actually said that it was not that simple as like text and then the image, and he used many hours and hours of work and many different experiments with this text image generator. He actually used Midjourney to create this image. And another example is this used in Warzone by Ben Moran. And actually, he's a digital illustrator, and he created this image and posted it on Reddit, but it was deleted because on this particular forum, it's prohibited to post AI-generated images. And this image, while it was created by the artist, it was still deleted by the administrator of the forum. And the artist claimed that he was the author of the image. He actually posted this image, like the evidence of his work, which was done, the screenshot from Photoshop. But even after this evidence, the people from forum, they said that he should have developed his own style, because even if he created this image himself, it actually reminds and appropriates this text-to-image aesthetics. And these two examples, they're showing how pervasive, how ubiquitous are these text-to-image algorithms, and how they're influencing the visual context around us. And first of all, let me make this statement. When we talk about AI, we are talking not about general artificial intelligence, but we are talking about artificial neural networks, which are, of course, they're not like general artificial intelligence. They are not really conscious, but they still can perform some tasks which were before only associated with human creativity, for instance. And let's talk a little bit about why is that? Why is all these algorithms so invasive and pervasive? This is a hype cycle for emerging technologies by Gartner from 2020. And what we can see here, there are a lot of different types of artificial intelligence and machine learning technologies, like explainable AI, embedded AI, responsible AI, adaptive machine learning, composite AI, and so on and so forth. And what we see the next year in 2021, again, generative AI, physics-informed AI, AI-augmented design, AI-driven innovation. And this is again in 2022, we see a lot of different types of artificial intelligence, like generative design AI, machine learning code generation, causal AI, and so on and so forth. So why is that? It's just because actually artificial neural networks are general purpose technologies, which means that they can be foundation for many other innovations. They can be applied really broadly, and they are transforming society and human. And here we can see other examples of general purpose technologies like steam engine, electricity, computer, the internet, and the next general purpose technology is artificial intelligence, artificial neural networks. And this gives us some understanding why they are around us, why they are implemented so broadly. And of course, they are also implemented in arts. And not only arts, art, music, and they still can perform and they can show this computation creativity. And here you see some objectives from Association for Computation Creativity, and these are three objectives developed by them. The first one is to construct a program capable of human-level creativity. Another objective is to better understand human creativity through these algorithms. And the third one is to design programs that can enhance human creativity. And here, and actually, while the first maybe objective is still arguable in a context, if we talk about text-to-image generators, but we can see that they can enhance our creativities. They are already implemented in social media marketing and design. Architects can use them for prototyping. And of course, many artists also experiment with these algorithms. And let's talk a little bit about history of text-to-image generators. The first attempts which were made in this direction were, they started from GANs, actually generative adversarial networks, which were before text-to-image generators. They were much hyped as well as text-to-image now. And they were developed by NVIDIA. And while they were developed, already in 2017, 2018, there were some attempts to merge them together with some attention mechanism or conditional machine learning to create images using some text prompt. And even 5-6 years ago, even back then, when they were not that powerful, many researchers were saying that we can see that it's already they already were like they already showed some interesting results, and many researchers were saying that we will see the photography without a camera. They were saying already in 2017 that we will just type some text and we will see like photographs which will be generated using this text prompt. And here we are. Now we have all this like Midjourney and Dall-E. We can just type the text and have these images, but not only photographs in any given style. And but back then they used these GANs architectures, and here you can see Jack Elf's British artist work, which is called Closed Loop, and he created it in 2017 using conditional GAN neural network together with computer vision algorithms. So he created this like a closed loop. He merged this. He used these two neural networks together, and while the first one was constantly generating some image using this text prompt, another neural network was recognizing the image and describing this image, and they were like working all together in this closed loop. And they were like, of course, you can see that they are not that perfect as Midjourney today, but they were still interesting. They still convey this specific GAN aesthetics. And for the artist, he was saying that it's kind of a conversation between two neural networks. They were like in this constant conversation. Another example also from this period of time is Snow by Great Cake Duo, two Russian artists, Kate Pranik and Sasha Sirichenko. And for this work, which probably can be, I mean, the title can be translated as Dream, something like that, because it was about dreams. For this work, they used attention mechanism together with this GAN architecture. And this is how the work looked in the exhibition space. So we had a microphone, and they had this TV, and of course the computer with installed neural network. And people were invited, the visitors of the show were invited to tell their dreams, and when they were telling their dreams into the microphone, the neural network recognized the speech and put this speech into the conditional, this attention mechanism GAN to generate these like videos which looked really like dreamy. And of course they were not photorealistic, but it was like kind of very poetic, because they were interpolating the Latin space. Here you can see some examples of like some screenshots of images generated by GAN. And it still like represented the concept of this like a dreamy aesthetics by GAN, and like really matched with the concept of the work. And now let's talk a little bit about how these modern text-to-image algorithms work, because everyone talks about them, but not that many people understand how they really work. And the initial idea was developed by OpenAI. They developed this Dall-E architecture. And actually, while Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, and many other applications, they generate different results, slightly different results, but with different aesthetics sometimes. But all of them, they work in pretty much similar way. Here are some screenshots from OpenAI articles on text-to-image generators. You can find them on archive.org. And here is some overview of how they work. So basically we have this like several parts inside this text-to-image generators. We have this text encoder, which is the main part is in the center, this clip model, which was trained on many images, and then we have this image encoder. But what is interesting here, and why we have all these really fascinating results when we work with text-to-image generators, is that actually they have this attention mechanism. And this text encoder, it represents in vectors. It represents this text in vectors, like it creates clip text embeddings, which means that it works on semantic level. So it works on the level of meaning. And so it creates like it not only shows us all the connections, all the relations, meaningful relations between words in the phrase, but also it creates this like in the semantic Latin space, it creates this like a vector representation of the text. And another part is this clip image embedding. So it's kind of also working on this level of meaning, on semantic level, and it represents like so it generates the image using this semantic information, like visual semantic information. And it's basically actually generating like stochastically generating, manifesting this semantic information. But the main part of all this process is this clip pre-trained model, contrastive language image pre-training, which is actually a focal point of these text-to-image generators. And so it's trained on huge data sets of images with descriptions. And this is the main interesting point, because it uses a lot of images with descriptions, and then it builds this very big model. But when we talk about all these images with descriptions, it's very interesting because we understand that these are huge data sets which were created by some people, and actually OpenAI, they are not revealing their data sets. So they only say that these are some huge data sets. We don't know what is inside. While actually Stable Diffusion, they publish the data set. So it's open for the public. And when we talk about the data sets, we come directly to the politics behind data sets, because all the data sets, they were created by people, and people sometimes they can be biased, sometimes they can make mistakes, and all these mistakes and biases, they are learned by algorithms, and which are representing them back to our reality. And I want to talk a little bit about politics of data set. And I want to talk about the project by Trevor Poglen, ImageNet Roulette. He was working with this data set ImageNet, which was before the biggest data set in the world for text to image and computer vision algorithms. And this is how ImageNet looks like. So we have some database of text and images, and you can go to some folder and you can see what kind of images are inside this category. And Trevor Poglen noticed that there is this category person, and when you go to this category, you can find misogynic, homophobic, and offensive categories already in a person category. And also some categories which represent the visual information of something which cannot be described visually. And he was doing this kind of research on ImageNet and on the particular person category, and then he decided to create the kind of like a procedural rhetoric representation of this research. He created the website, and people could visit the website. They could upload the images, or they can use some images from the internet. And the algorithm trained on this person category from ImageNet recognized them, identified them using this like data it was trained on. And of course, the results were sometimes stupid, sometimes funny, sometimes they were offensive. This is actually the artist himself, and he's identified as skinhead, which doesn't make any sense, of course. And many people were offended, so it created a scandal, it created a discussion. And the result of this research was that ImageNet actually, they closed the person category. They closed this category, and if you still can go to ImageNet, you can still see that there is this category person, but you cannot see what is inside. You cannot see the data set. And they were later they claimed that they were trying to create more diverse data sets. They were trying to think ethically about the data sets. But now let's, knowing all this, now let's talk about text-to-image datasets. And as I already said, Dall-E, they didn't reveal their dataset, they didn't open the data. And but Stable Diffusion, they published this, they worked together with this Stability AI, this sponsor Stability AI, to create this Leon 5B, the biggest openly accessible image text dataset in the world. And so Stable Diffusion was trained on this Leon dataset. And Midjourney, actually, the first beta version of Midjourney was also trained of this dataset. Here you can see this like example, what is inside of this dataset, French cat, and you can see how it represents French. And this French cat concept. And these data sets, they are huge, so we don't understand how what is inside. And Andy Bayer, American technologist, he created some interface which some website which helps us to see what is inside of these datasets. And while he was not able to upload Lion dataset to the internet, he decided to use this Lion aesthetics dataset, which because in Lion dataset they also used computer vision algorithms which were trained to identify aesthetic score for each image. And here we also come to interesting question: who decided what is aesthetical and why? So obviously there were some people in this data set deciding, like making these scores, and which is also kind of interesting question, because probably these people were representing not some just like a common aesthetics, right? Like aesthetics understood by some people who are not artists, who are not curators, people with some common view on aesthetics. And here you can see some examples of what is in the data set within with this digital art category. And now we come into the question of authorship and AI-generated art. When we talk about text-to-image artificial intelligence, we have all the scientists who did the research. We have all the developers, all IT companies who paid for this, to train these huge clip models. For instance, Stability AI together with Stable Diffusion, they paid $600,000 just for Amazon servers, just to train this clip model. So of course they invested in this, and so they trained this huge clip model, and they trained them on huge data sets. And of course there were many artists who were contributing to these data sets even without their consent. So all the data was scraped from the internet, and all this data was used to train clip model. And a couple of days ago there was the first legal case, and digital artists Sarah Anderson, Kelly McKernan, and Carla Otis, they are against Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, and DeviantArt, which with their DreamUp text-to-image generator. And artists, they are claiming that all their data, all their works, not only their works, but also works by digital artists, they were scraped from the internet without their consent. And so they started this legal case just a couple of days ago. And we don't know what will happen, but it's just actually fascinating to just see what is happening right now. And Spawning AI is a very interesting attempt by artists Matt Dryhurst, Holly Herndon, and Jordan Mayer to this issue. So they created this in the context of Spawning AI. They created this website, Have I Been Trained? And using this website, you can see if you're a digital artist, for instance, you can see if your images were used to train this clip model. So but not only you can search for your images, but also you can opt out your images from the next Stable Diffusion version 3. Why did it happen? It happened because the artists, they started the project in September 2022, and later in December, like months ago, Stability AI, they stated that they will let artists opt out of Stable Diffusion 3 dataset. So it became possible with the help of this Have I Been Trained project, actually. So this is another example how artists can influence the world around us, how they can try to change something. Now let's talk a little bit about other approach, how artists are not trying to change something in the world, but trying to push limits of artificial intelligence. And it comes also from some limitations which all these text-to-image algorithms have, because all the companies like Stable Diffusion, Dall-E, and Midjourney, first they have censorship. Of course, they also have biases. And another thing which is happening right now, because we have all these beautiful images generated with AI, and I can call it like devaluation of visual aesthetics. And here's just an example of what people like Peter Valek, the artist, trying to create. This is just one of the examples, because he has many images on his Facebook, and here's the reaction on the ubiquitous, beautiful images created with text-to-image generators. So many artists actually are trying to create creepy, scary, uncanny images, and this is a series which is called Tenderness. And he has many of this on his Facebook. Another example of like how artists can work pushing limits of text-to-image AI is artist Olivier Aubert, and is experimented with text-to-image generators, and these are the examples of images he created with Midjourney. As you may know, Midjourney, they have censorship, and you cannot generate adult content with this. Not only Dall-E also, so you cannot generate something like that. And Olivier Aubert is trying to push the limits to trying to generate something like that with the prompt, actually the craziest work of art of all time. And here the prompt was the most exciting work of all art of all time. And these are the examples with the prompt, the most famous work of art of all time. Here's a fascinating article about this project. These are also just a couple of examples of his work. And another project by him, also kind of a research project, he was trying to push the limits of AI and trying to make it generate something unimaginable. And he was trying to generate images with this prompt. Imagine, here you can immediately understand this from Midjourney, right? If you tried it. Imagine ultra-wide angle image inside the floor of the World Trade Center that has just been hit by an exploding plane. And here was the first image, and then he was banned from Midjourney, of course. He published this image on their Facebook community and immediately was banned. And the only images of this event we have, this is the real image, right? So we only have something like that, some videos or pictures like that. But obviously we don't have any images from inside the building. And Olivier was trying to generate something. He switched to Stable Diffusion because he was banned by Midjourney. And this is the image he generated with the same prompt. But the comments from him, we imagine the plane outside but do not see the interior of the tower. This is another example. This given an idea of the beginning of the depression defecate by the cabin of the plane, but we see nothing else. Here's another example. It seems that there is a plane still outside. Also, obviously, it has already passed inside. And this is another example. Too late, the plane passed. So it's another attempt to push the limits of AI, to generate something unimaginable. And another example by Eric Salvager, a researcher and artist, his experiment with Dall-E, how to read an AI image, the datification of a kiss. And he's also talking about politics behind dataset, politics behind text-to-image generators, and he's also a kind of like trying to reveal the biases in the dataset. And he started generating images with a prompt, two people kissing, and he saw these kind of results, which were obviously we can see the first bias here, that they are all male and female, right? Like different genders. And this is the first bias. Also, there is only one image with multiracial couple. This is another bias. And we also can see that they're not really realistic, which gives us an idea that probably there were not that many images of kissing people in the data set. So probably, maybe because they were kind of understood as some adult content, or maybe seen as like similar to adult content. And while he was like experimenting with this using text interface, he also revealed that when he asked the algorithm to generate two men kissing, it was possible. But when we asked it to generate two women kissing, he was almost banned. He was like warned that it's kind of he's trying to require some explicit content. So it was, which also gives us some clue about censorship inside these algorithms. And now I want to talk about works in the exhibition. And how they are related to the topics which we were discussing today. We have actually many works using text-to-image generators in the exhibition. Many of them you could see on this LED screen in our video program, which we curated together with my colleague and friend Nikita Prudnikov. And but this is a project which you can see just in front of the LED screen, a project by Dilara Bashkailu, Body Formations. Actually, please come tomorrow to her talk. She will talk tomorrow together with Alper Yashaltash about their practices, artistic practices. But I want to talk a little bit about her work from my perspective. And there's an interesting story behind the project. She was actually, this is continuation of her previous project, which she created using StyleGAN architecture. But the story is very interesting. She found archive of black and white images. She bought this archive on flea market, and these images are very, very old, from 100 years ago. And these images were images of naked women. And we don't know any history behind this archive, so we don't know if these women were abused, if they were if they didn't like it, or how they were like involved in this, why they were photographed, like if they did it for money, or like there are many different questions. We don't have any answers to these questions. And Dilara used this, she digitized all the images, and she used them as a dataset for StyleGAN 2. And so she generated the images, videos with StyleGAN 2, and that was her previous project. And then she used this result generated by StyleGAN to experiment with Dall-E and Stable Diffusion. And here you see the results, the collages created with StyleGAN together with Stable Diffusion and Dall-E. Three different algorithms. And here you can also see how she's pushing boundaries of like censorship implemented in Dall-E and Stable Diffusion. And she's creating these images which still have this uncanny feeling, probably also like relating to this initial data set. And the images, while they are they're looking like eye candy. They're still transgressive, so they are generating these sometimes transgendered bodies. Sometimes they look like just abstract images, but you still can see, like, you can recognize the bodies. And so she's also in a way like pushing boundaries, still having this uncanny feeling implicitly in the images. And another example is the work by Anna Shustikova, You Can Touch, You Can Play. You can also see it in the exhibition. And this work, this project is a part of her big research on AI and how it influences our understanding of beauty, female beauty in particular, because we know that social media like Instagram and TikTok, they have computer vision systems which are evaluating beauty of people on images and videos, and they're deciding how to show, not to show these images and videos on newsfeed to other people. So this is creating some feedback loop when the algorithms, they're learning some biases, some like let's say male gaze from data sets created by people, evaluating beauty of women, and then they're giving us back all these ideas about beauty. And Anna was experimenting with text-to-image generators. She started 2 years ago when they were not that powerful like now, and she started working with this clip architecture using Google Colab. And she started experimenting with prompts like woman, beautiful woman, female, and that was one of the first images she got. So this looks like almost pornographic, right? And she was shocked, of course, why AI thinks about that women should look like this. And other types of images were these kind of images of this, like old white-skinned females looking like Hollywood movie stars. And this is another example of things generated by Clip AI. And that was the initial starting point for her project. And at some iteration of the project, she decided to invite people. So she exhibited this kind of images, this kind of prints, and she invited people, visitors of the exhibition, to upload their own images, or like to create their own data set of how women should look like, to train AI on this data set. And so she collected all this data from people participating in the exhibition, online and offline. And these are some results she received. These are the results she generated using this data set. But as you may see, like some faces are like they look strange, right? This is because some friend of her, or some person decided to poison the data set, and this person uploaded the images of monsters to the data set, trying to kind of spoil the project. And for her, it was a very difficult question if she should use these images of monsters, or she should delete them. And she decided to use, but I think in the some iterations she deleted the images. But this is also, I think, a very interesting question, because we should actually, obviously, this person was biased because he uploaded the images of monsters, like representing females. It's a strange idea, and from my perspective, she should have deleted all the images from the data set and shouldn't have used them to train AI on. And here at Akbank Sanat, she presents the sculptures created using these AI-generated images, and the sculptures are 3D printed. You can see them in the exhibition, and they're representing all these male gaze, all these biases, like reducing women to legs and hair, or like some like body shapes. And I think this project is a great example of how we can work with text-to-image algorithms critically, how we think ethically about them, how we raise all these like important questions about these algorithms. And this is it. And now I can ask your questions. And please, if you have any questions, comments, please ask.
First of all, thank you for the presentation. My question is about in the first slides, instead of artists, some say that it should have been stayed.
Promptist or prompter, yeah.
But we also witnessed ChatGPT. The
Yes.
prompts are also beginning to be written by AI.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
Actually experimented some ChatGPT outputs into the Midjourney, and results were very interesting. So the prompter will not be enough, I think. What do you think about the future of these? If the prompts are all also created by AI, then what will we call artists as artists?
But this is just, I mean, this is just a joke, I think, from some people, like inviting us to think about this, like how we can think about artists, what is the creative part, what artist gives us if we use all these text-to-image generators. And yeah, I mean, it's just a joke. And actually, I know some artist, he generated prompter manifesto with GPT, GPT chat. Yes.
In your opinion, what may be the feature of those text-to-image generators? The feature, how do you see? What witness in near future, in 10 years?
In 10 years.
Transform art, how art is made.
I think they will just transform visual culture around us. And we don't know yet. I mean, we can only imagine how it will be in the future. So, of course, they will be more advanced, obviously, and we will see already that they still have some like problems with generating this, like kissing people, for instance, right? And sometimes they can create these creepy faces or something like that. But they will be more advanced, of course, in this in these kind of tasks. But they will just transform the visual culture, I think. So many people are using them. But what I also see that in a way they are really developing this like a standard, let's say, like common visual aesthetics. Also probably because I think Midjourney obviously was trained on this kind of aesthetically looking images with this like high aesthetic score according by algorithms, right? It's obvious when we, for instance, when we compare with the same prompt images generated with Dall-E and Midjourney, we always see that Midjourney has some specific like aesthetics, like common aesthetics. And I think it will like also develop the visual aesthetics in a way. It's already evaluated. I mean, like when you see what artists are creating, they are not thinking like I mean, if we talk about digital illustration, of course, yes, like they want to create appealing images, but artists are new media artists. They don't want to create beautiful images. They want to think critically and to and yeah, like push boundaries of AI, like to create something which is not appealing, but maybe triggers some ideas.
You mentioned about biases of the data sets. Like, is there any work regarding to create more sensitive or neutral or like, I don't know?
Data sets.
Yeah, not.
Uh, I think it's I think it's very difficult when we talk about clip architecture. Imagine that Stable Diffusion, they used $600,000 to train clip. so it's not really accessible for us as artists. This is a problem. This is a big problem, I think, with text-to-image generators, that it's only huge. It's only something for huge companies which can invest in training these huge models. So we don't, yeah, like, and in many cases with Dall-E, they are not revealing the data set. We don't understand what is inside. And there were some cases people identified, they, like, digital artists, they identified their works, like, also they don't understand if it was something in data set, but it's obvious when they generate some results and they see that it's really similar to their work. It's a big problem with data sets. So yeah, I think there should be more works on this topic, like at least like claiming from these companies to create more ethical data sets, more diverse data sets. It's what we can do. Also, like with this project by Holly Herndon, when they're trying to make these companies to delete images by digital artists if the artists claim to the images to be deleted. Like, yeah, I think it's also a good example.
In your biography, I read that you're investigating the relationship with technology and AI and like post-human studies. Like, how do you define that? Like, with the aid of technology, the representation of the humanity changes, and like how do you like work like?
You mean how human change in the context of AI algorithms?
Yes. What do you study regarding these?
I think actually we have actually several works in the exhibition on this topic, because many artists use artificial intelligence to help us to understand other like entities, unhuman entities, like animals, for instance. And I did a project about bird language, where I used artificial intelligence as this like intermediate agent between humans and birds, helping us to understand birds better, because obviously artificial intelligence is capable to reveal some patterns in data, in any kind of data, and because it works with big data, it can reveal some patterns which we cannot identify as humans, which are limited capacities on understanding patterns. So artificial intelligence can help us to reveal something from data, for instance, from some unhuman entities like birds, animals. Yeah, and it can help us to understand them better. And we can, like we can see some examples in the exhibition. For instance, this great work by Robertina Szybianic, Sophia Cresp, and Felican McCormick, which are using artificial intelligence also in the context of post-human perspective to kind of help us to feel empathy to this Pinna nobilis, this shell. Which is very difficult, I think, to feel the empathy to some entity which is so alien to us. It's like from another planet. How we can feel empathy to this kind of creature, and here they are kind of like using AI in this context, inviting us to feel together with AI and to feel empathy. So I think this is a big trend in AI in the context of post-human studies. Okay, any more questions? Yes.
Some ideas about these text-to-image generators are also about that it democratizes the production of art, because years of education necessity in drawing styles, learning, but in a few minutes you can create as if it was produced in months of time. So can we say that it democratizes, but also it makes easier? Is it a good thing, bad thing? How do you think about it?
It's controversial. I think from one perspective it's a good thing. Obviously, it's democratize the process of creating visually appealing images. But I actually think it doesn't make it art. If you can like easily generate something with text to image generator, it doesn't mean that the thing you're creating is art actually. So again, you have to have some idea, you have to have some concept, some critical or okay, like some interesting, innovative approach to create something. But of course, yeah, if we talk about is it as a helpful tool, of course, it's good thing. So we can have some fast prototyping and designing things, which is really good, I think.
How the research looks like for the artist right now? Do you use all these algorithms yourself to, to understand?
Of course. Of course I do. Yes, it's interesting just to experiment with this like text to text interface. Actually, I teach this stuff. So I used to teach. So the project by Anna Shustikova, it started from in a class actually. So we were experimenting with clip architecture. But we were back then we were experimenting in Google Colab. It was 2 years ago, so it was not possible there were no this kind of easy to use interfaces like only when you only can type some text. You had to still to work a little bit with the text. You had to yeah, I mean with the code. I mean yeah, just yeah, but now it's very easy. So of course I'm experimenting, and I'm actually yeah, when I started experimenting, I was kind of a little bit upset because it's I mean it's so limited, the interface. It's only the text. But then after some like experiments, I realized that it's still possible to kind of interact with it in a meaningful way. And yes, I still use it sometimes. Like yeah, some images for the presentation was generated, obviously. Actually, many of them, yeah, most of them, and some I took from the research papers, and some I generated with Midjourney, Dall-E, and Stable Diffusion. So it's kind of helpful, especially if you have to find some image, some particular image of something like I don't know, yeah, yeah, yes, French cat or something like. Yeah, like a cell or some like brain structure, or yeah, it's interesting. Like it makes mistakes still.
Six fingers.
Yeah. Like it makes creepy mistakes, but it's still fun. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming.